Hello everyone. Everything should now be live. Let me just double check because yesterday we were having issues, but we'll run through the news over quick before the market opens, and then we'll be ready to basically go through everything else. But it was quite big news last night. We also did want to see, as you can already see on the chart over here, why Snap moving so much pre-market. They had 4 million paid users. Okay, I'm just again making sure the stream is up. Oh, it seems to be working because Bradley's in the stream. What's up, Bradley? Hope you're good. But everything hopefully is working. But yeah, anyway, we'll run through the news then because it should all be up. So, firstly, what is coming out? So, firstly, we'll put this on the screen over here. So, firstly, with the Germany consumer or CPI come out. Came out higher than expected in this kind of environment, usually not taken as a good thing because, well, for the markets, it's usually not taken for a good thing. Good for the currency, though, because more likely going to be more rate hikes coming in. We then also had the US GDP come out. Came out much higher than expected. Again, it's probably why you're seeing the S&P and the overall market selling off right now. When you're seeing this higher than expected, not going to be as great for the indices because rates are likely to hike. So obviously businesses can't get as many loans. Then if we go further on, we then also have, let me get rid of that, US initial job claims. Again, this came in lower than expected. Normal market conditions, that is good news. In this kind of market conditions, not so much, because again, more likely to have to lead to rate hikes if there's not really as many people losing their jobs. If there's not as many people losing their jobs, which is kind of a weird thing that they look for, but if more people are keeping their jobs, it shows that businesses still have too much money, and again, inflation is most likely going to continue, so can lead to rate hikes. And then these haven't come out yet. We have, I think it's 10:30. It comes out. I know 10 o'clock. We have the US pending home sales month on month. So again, we'll be watching for that. We'll cover that live though. And then we also have the US Federal Reserve balance sheet coming out at 4:30. So after the close. So not something we'll be covering during the stream, but definitely something to be keeping an eye on. So those are the key things that we're looking at from that sort of news perspective. And then other things we'll quickly then cover before the news, before the open, is if we go over to the Discord. Again, you can join the Discord free in the description. Again, we kind of just have all the big things coming out. We've already gone over the jobless claims, that was key. The GDP, that was key, that's already come out. Really, the only main thing we're paying attention to is going to be the pending home sales and then weekly natural gas. If you're looking at new futures, then obviously this can be a good release to be looking at. So those are some of the key things. Then to cover some of the big news. Oh yeah, so this is the Snap news on why we're moving quite big. Their $4 per month subscription service, Snap Plus, has already reached 4 million paid users in its first year. And then we also have the Fed sweep see a 50% chance of a second rate hike. So again, at least from what's said so far, they're expecting no more than probably 2 rate hikes from the Fed. And right now, it's at least 50% that we get both of those two. Which again, if you're watching the currencies, can be strong for the dollar, but again, can add to why we're selling off into the market today. Then the rest of this is what we already covered with the initial job claims and the CPI, German CPI. Or you also have Warren Buffett now owns more than 20% of OXY. We did actually have a quick look at this, but it moved up about 1% so far pre-market, so that's one thing we could be looking at. You can see we closed at 57.50. We're up at, I can't even see what that is. And we're up at 58.25, which is about 1.5% move up currently. And this was actually quite nice. On this release, it didn't even kind of skyrocket. It just gradually moved up. Then seeing if there's anything else real quick that we want to cover. Oh, I didn't even talk about this yet. Not news related. CUK holding above daily third deviation. I'll check that out in a second. Just want to run through one last thing. and that was the stress test. I was going to make a video on it, but then didn't have the time to do it. So you had the every one of the 23 banks, market's now open, all 23 banks passed the stress test. They did it. The stress test was, I think it was 115 billion that the banks would have lost, and again, they were still all resilient. They were still all above water. A lot of alerts are going off, so we'll go through those. And then also with JP Morgan, they did come out as now being the top deal maker, taking over Goldman Sachs, who have held it for about 5 years. Now we are having a lot of alerts fly off, so we'll go and start checking all of these out. Let me quickly get the chat up here now, because I won't be able to have it on my screen. 1 second, and then we can start going through all these alerts and seeing what we're paying attention to from that perspective. Okay, there we go. I've got the chat up so I can see that. So forward alert that went off. But this actually, while we're running through these, I might put this chart here just so we can quickly run through it like this. So we do have forward coming into its second deviation on the 1 year. That's at 1493. So if we want to be paying attention to forward, that's a key level I'm paying attention to for the time being. That did update, it was just delayed. And then 1521, this is really the key level I'll be looking to trade. If we can come up to here on forward, I'm really looking to trade that. I think it could be quite a nice opportunity. So let me set out another alert, kind of a break above that $15 and see how it is. Also, this stock, I do find it quite a crazy one. If we quickly zoom out, kind of pre-COVID, this stock, you know, was quite consistently trading nearer that $5, and then ever since then flew up to 25, but has held up relatively well on the longer term. Now we change this back to the 6 month. Again, we had a lot of alerts to get through, so we'll go through as many as possible. So we change these all to triggered. So we had forward ACHR. Oh, so this was a small cap. This one will be an interesting one because right now it's still kind of undecided whether this is just a dead cat bounce or if it's going to be that second momentum pump. But we are coming into, or have come into, that third deviation, and we're already quite weak on that. So considering we've already hit this range, we're selling off. Again, target right now is $4, which looks like we could potentially hit. If we did push up, could potentially look to take this short. Again, it is a small cap, but is easy to borrow, does have options to define that risk. So probably one I would look to trade out. You can get the most or closest expirations out 22 days. So we can leave it to play a bit. And considering it's only $400 to short 100 shares, quite an easy opportunity, I guess. So ACHR, I'll put the alert out going that way, because if it continues to fall, I don't really care for it. Then we have, okay, ACHR, both alerts went off. We then have AAL, so American Airlines. So that's coming into its, or it just looks like it's hit its second deviation on the 1 year. So we'll start seeing how it reacts off this level. And then it's coming very close to its second deviation on the 6 month as well. So we'll throw on these. Again, we'll throw on another alert just so we know if it continues moving in that direction. How does that look from there? So, okay, it's only hitting it coming into the open, so that's quite nice. We can start seeing how does that react. It's actually at 77, but again, it's only 2 cents. Not the end of the world. But that's where the actual level is. Now to quickly continue over the last... Okay, so we got 2 left. So JOBY. So this was had news. This is more what people talking about in the Discord, not something I've traded myself, but has come into those deviations. So let me quickly plot the levels or the key ones I'm paying attention to. But considering how this is moving, I probably will not be trading it because firstly, it came into our third deviations before we sold off. So that's normally the great opportunity. Once you come back to retest it relatively quickly, a lot more likely to break as we have in this case. And it's also now moving off the catalyst that there to receive 100 million equity investment from SK Telecom. So it is moving on a catalyst as well. So probably something I'd wait for it to die out a bit before potentially jumping in. If we're looking at it short bias, just to make sure it is easy to borrow, does have shares, so we can definitely trade it from a defined risk standpoint. And then the last alert that's currently gone off is GM. So GM looks like it's coming into its first deviation on the 1 year at around $38.81. And if we were, and we've actually already broken our first deviation on the 6 month, that was at 37.75. So we'll plot those out, and then if we do break higher, we do have our next level at $40.60. So now we've plotted these levels, now we can actually start looking at the trading opportunities and see if we can start entering some things today. I want to quickly check how the EMVX is. So this potentially will end up being a losing trade for us. Again, we did enter this, I think, on the Tuesday. Yeah, we entered it on Tuesday. Again, our average short 200 shares at 15.83. We've got the calls to define the risk. So the max we can lose on this trade, if it stays above $15 by Friday, we lose $65. So not the end of the world, but again, we will watch to see how this plays out. No point really cutting out right now. We might as well let it play out. If it does start to pull back, we can turn that into a win potentially. Otherwise, again, we lose the max, the defined risk. CUK, actually, I didn't even check that out. So let me check that out now. So yeah, Bradley said, well, it was holding its third deviation. We then also had American Airlines going off again. 1541 is the 1 year first deviation, third deviation. 1665, so that'll probably be the move I look for more on CUK. If we can push to there, I'll put my alert out as well. Carnival Cruise Line alert going off as well. We're really getting a lot of alerts coming off today. I can see Bradley's going to be having a fun time because he's just put out, I think he said 170 alerts. So his alert's going to be flying off today. Yeah, so that CUK, I'm just going to have the alert out. What company even is that? Carnival PLC ADR sponsors. Oh, so is that meant to be a Carnival cruise line? Oh yeah, it literally trades the exact same. Didn't even know CUK was a ticker for it. Again, that's Carnival Cruise Lines, and it literally trades the exact same. So yeah, I'm guessing they are the same company. I'll probably be looking to trade it then through the CCL. This has been one I've been staying a bit away from just by how it's trading. It's still showing pretty good strength, even though we're at extremely overbought areas. So until it starts to show a bit more weakness, I'm probably not even going to touch this stock because I think it will fail the deviations. Quickly grab up the Discord again. I want to see what news is coming through. Shares of big banks rise after sailing through Fed stress test. Bernard says reasons to believe can get near -2% pre-election. Can get. Don't really know what that means, but okay. Also at market open, US home listing prices drop in June. Can actually start checking what some of these banks are doing actually. I want to see what JPM is doing. So JPM is doing quite nice, up to just under 3%. And again, they've not only got the success of past deal maker overtaking Goldman Sachs in about first time in 5 years. I'm not really near any deviational levels apart from statistical mean, but I don't trade that. So really on something like JPM, probably won't even be touching it until we can kind of come into at least kind of around that 150 range. So still needed a relatively big move. Won't be something I'd touch too soon, but definitely something I hold in the long term. So I do like it from that perspective. Goldman is up 2.5%. It is actually now becoming less overbought. It was at, or well, kind of below its first deviation, starting to bounce off it right now. Then the target would kind of be 340 on the far end or 226 as a more potential kind of intraday level to be paying attention to. So that's one thing to be paying attention to. Okay, SPY's now kind of flipping its direction on the open. Instead of changing that chart, it'll be easier if I got into the futures. You'll be able to see what I mean by this. So it looks like it's just holding its anchored VWAP more. So if I go into a 5-minute, then we can actually get all the chart here. So this green line here, this is when the stress test was released. We had a temporary bounce, then we started to sell off, kind of coming into pre-market, then a big move to the upside, then 8:30. So here, I'll just add it like that. Here is once you start having the GDP and the initial jobless claims, obviously, did sell off on that news, came into our 2-day anchored VWAP, starting to bounce now. So again, we'll start seeing what happens with that. See if there's anything big. So one of the larger big caps down on the day is going to be Micron, ticker MU, selling off quite harsh today. I'm going to see if there's some sort of news. Okay, so Micron CEO calls bottom in memory chip market, but weak PC smartphone forecast cuts into expected AI gains, and their revenues drop 57%. Still relatively nice uptrend though from the longer term outlook, very clearly holding this out long term outlook. So it could be a nice potential long coming into either 61 first deviation on the 6-month or $58 first deviation on the 1 year. I like getting in with that 6-month and 1 year trend if they're in the same direction. Usually going to be a lot nice trade. Okay, we just had PSNY. Let me throw the chart up. PSNY just announced it has signed an agreement with Tesla to adopt the North America Charging Standard, NACS. For some reason, this chart is not loading though. Can't tell if this is my Wi-Fi or not. Because they were doing this earlier. I can tell by doing this, I guess. Okay, it seems to be my computer then that's having the issue. Let me try and load it up on TradingView to see if I can then see something on there. In the meantime, because I don't know what's happening with this. Even this is quite slow though. PSNY. Okay, there we go. Finally loading, at least on TradingView. So getting closed yesterday at 375, we gapped up to and opened up around 390, selling off a tiny bit though into open. Oh, it might be why I'm not able to see it as well. UK holdings. Oh no, it's still listed on the Nasdaq though. We should be all good then. It's just the platform's either lagging or it's my Wi-Fi. I'm not too sure. I guess actually in the meantime, there's no point in leaving it on if nothing's working on it. So what I'll do in the meantime is I'll just put SPY up. We can leave SPY up on here until these charts sort themselves out. And TradingView as well can be a great platform. I used it for one thing till I got it coded into Thinkorswim, but that is the anchored VWAP. It's so easy to do on this platform. All you have to do is just go to your indicators, anchored VWAP, and you click where you want it to start from. And then I don't actually want the other things. You can see I don't really use it much anymore though, because it's got all these random things that I don't actually know how to get rid of. So we might have to cope with it. until those charts start to load. I don't know why everything's not working. Let me try and just reload the platform because it's being quite bad now. Again, when we're looking at this, until I get the Thinkorswim back up, when watching this, I'm not really paying attention to these green. These are the bands off the anchored VWAPs. I don't actually care too much for those. Don't even know what's happening with this. Everything is just going super glitchy. Might be one of those things. Let me do that and I'll see if that helps sort out the issues. Bernard downplays recession risk, points to resilience. Okay, it should actually be loading up now. Okay, yeah, no, I think it is my Wi-Fi. I'm seeing now that it's lagging on the live stream as well. Okay, I'm hoping things will stop being like this. My Wi-Fi has been... Actually, my Wi-Fi is not bad. It's just... It will just cut out randomly every once in a while. Seems like this chart's still somewhat working. Keeps coming back and forward. Okay, I'm going to have to try and end the stream, reset the platform, reset my Wi-Fi, see if that can work, because it is not seeming to work all that well. Unless I can get it to work. Yeah, actually, no, it says connection's fine back on the stream, so I'm just waiting for Thinkorswim then to pick back up. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and just end the stream and restart it up, see if that fixes it, because this is just not working. So I'll be back in a minute or two. Oh. Oh, there we go. Just as I'm about to end it. Okay, great. Well, anyway, here's the PSMY chart. Let me quickly now check out the key levels. 450, so Polestar needs to push quite a bit before I have any interest in it. Its closest resistance from what I can see is the 430, so I'll put an alert out if it starts going that way. And that will just be the 6-month first deviation. Other markets are kind of flat. Well, QQQs and SPYs are basically just flat since the open as well. Let's see what's happening on the SPX straddles then, because they're probably staying quite flat. Oh, okay, I think they just... It's actually being really annoying now. Okay, I'm just going to end the stream and just try and get this all sorted because this is just really not working. Get the stream up as quick as possible so it doesn't end it completely. So I'm just loading up Thinkorswim now, but hopefully everything should now be working as intended. Okay, it looks like everything is now working. I think it just my computer needed to reset or something. Let me quickly check if there's any big news coming out. So UK Competition Appeal Tribunal rejects competition regulators' request for delaying Microsoft Activision deal appeal. You also have Volkswagen is said to remove Audi CEO in performance push. Could see that being quite good. I don't know if that's just me, but I do find the Audi's quite lackluster, especially considering as well. Well, Porsche is my favorite brand, but I mean they're all, a lot of them use the shared parts. They're pretty much made in near enough the same factories, so it's so crazy to me how, say, a Porsche can be so much better than an Audi, something that is produced by the same company, has the same information and everything, but the cars are just so different. So I don't know if that's anything to do with their CEO, but we'll see if that can have a better impact on the cars. I don't think it'll make a massive difference to the stock, but we'll see. So actually, while we're back up, I want to check what the SPX straddles were doing. Now everything should be loading normally. So the straddles, again, I'll show you why I like the straddles, because they can be key at seeing what's happening in the market. So the SPX, and I'll show you actually what I'm looking for. So when we're looking at the SPX, just finding out what value it opened at. So we opened at 4,374.98. So you just do the closest strike. So in this case, the 4,375. You go over to spread straddles, and again, all a straddle is a call and put buy. So then I'll just send it to my chart, but you want those together, and then it's looking at this. This is all the straddle is, and what I like to be paying attention to is right here we have the VWAP. Ford is going off the alerts. So here we have the VWAP, and all I like to be paying attention to is where the straddle is sitting at in relation to this VWAP, because if the price is above it, showing you that market is moving faster or more than the market was pricing in, or the option market was pricing in, and as soon as you start trading below, showing the day is most likely a lot less lackluster than the market was expecting, and usually moves. And if you're a trend trader, you kind of want to be seeing the straddle above here. If you're a reversal trader, then ideally you want to be watching below VWAP, or at least that's how I tend to use this straddle, and can find it really beneficial looking at it like that. So let me check out Ford real quick because it's hitting alerts. So yeah, we came into the 1493 level. This is still on a 5-minute for some reason. See, we came into that level, got a bit of hesitation, and then we're now breaking to the next side. So we'll see how we start to react coming into the 1520. But this could definitely be something I'd potentially look to play a bit more short bias now. It would be a 6-month. Well, we have just hit our 6-month high. 1 year high is a bit further off, so the 52-week high is at 1668. Put out one more alert for if we actually hit the level. What's AT&T doing as well? Oh, I wanted to check out Mara. So these levels have moved a bit. Let me just re-update them. So we're at 1470. I believe this Mara, isn't this the Bitcoin miners? So let me quickly check. So I need to see what Bitcoin's doing. Not something I normally look at because I don't trade crypto. Okay, so now we got all the key levels. And let me just paste that. There we go. So now I've got the key MARA levels lined out. So currently where we are now, we're coming into our second deviational range. See how we react in this. If we end up breaking outside of here, we got this 1660 to around $17 target. From there, I would be quite short biased. But the first thing I need to be paying more attention to is what is happening to Bitcoin. So here we have Bitcoin. I can clear out these levels because these are now a bit old. So, okay, Mara, then I'm not liking that short bias, and that's because, let me just double check. I think it is a Bitcoin miner because it heavily trades in line. What's up, Joe? Go ahead on now. And as well, Joe, I think Bradley was down as well if you want to jump on that call either Friday or Saturday. So yeah, with Marathon Digital, I don't know when you get the quick company profile, but I can't find it quickly now. Oh yeah, so it is it's all the news is crypto related. So I'm assuming then they are the crypto miner. So this is when time I don't want to be short bias on a stock. So it is pushing up, it is breaking up. Potentially could get day trade shorts off these levels, but I'm probably not looking to swing in just by looking at what the actual all Bitcoin futures are doing. We can see Bitcoin on the 6 month is trading exactly at fair value, and on the 1 year, coming into our first deviation, a tiny bit overbought. But considering we're not extreme, and especially on something like Bitcoin, which can be more volatile, for me to justify being short bias on it, we would have to be up at least to its second deviation, which in this case is $35,000. So if we can start pushing up to 35, 36,000, then on Mara, I could start being a bit more short bias. But for now, Bitcoin could easily squeeze to the upside, and then this Mara position, even though from its own outlook, it is becoming overbought. If it is following the underlying, it is trading similar to the underlying Bitcoin, then this will just fly straight through these levels. And again, if we're short and especially not protected, we're going to be quite screwed. However, it is hard to borrow, so we probably wouldn't have been doing covered stock or short in the shares, which means we can trade it using just outright options. And if so, we could just look to play the puts, even if we don't go say a week out. You could literally go and get the 13 calls. They cost about $50. If it goes our way, they can make a decent amount. If it goes against us, again, we lose $50. That alarm, that's not an alert. That's just to say it's 10 a.m. And $13, how likely are we to hit that? Relatively, because if we start to break to the downside, we got our first target of 1170. So that's what I'm looking at on Mara. But again, I probably will not be swing trading it, just considering how Bitcoin is moving. Yeah, defo, that works for me. Free both days. So just let me know. Will do, then we'll do. I kind of usually just let Bradley pick the time, so I'll let him pick because obviously he's got family and stuff. He's got more commitments, I guess, than me to deal with. What are you looking at anyway, Joel, today? Are you trading or are you just kind of seeing how your algo is working? Let me move this out of the way and we go back to the normal charts. Micron now down near 5% as well on the day, so is AMC. I want to check out Micron first. Micron, again, if we can come down to around $61, I like that long bias. I'll actually plot the level because it's not on there now. But 61.04, so basically $61. First deviation on that 6 month, going to be most likely a strong support if we can push down to that. So if we continue this sell off, I will probably be looking to get a long bounce off coming into that level. AMC also down 5%. Not going to be something I touch. Don't really like a stock like AMC unless we can squeeze and we can trade it through options and just trade basically the downside move. But right now, we got fair value at $2, which is crazy considering this stock hasn't even hit $2 anytime soon. But it kind of just shows how weak this is from a 6 month and 1 year perspective. And I mean, really, anything, even since it's released its ape shares, has just been so weak. Don N, what is that, NNDM? Let me check that out then for you. NNDM, they finally had good earnings. They also have more cash on hand than their market cap. I hope you cover them. I'll cover them real quick now then. I like it, but I probably don't like it how you do. So yes, that is probably a good catalyst. We are moving to the upside, but to me, we are coming into key short bias levels. So 268 is our first deviation on the 1 year, and then that 275 is our first deviation on the 6 month. So coming into here, this is our first range of resistance. This isn't an extreme level though, so usually I look for a day trade. Again, we can start seeing how it reacts to this level. We pull back off that first one, we holding this as a support. So really, actually, if we break that high, we could continue more bullish. And if we do continue up, this is when I would probably start looking to trade it. Again, I would probably be looking short bias, especially considering it is easy to borrow, does have shares. It can make it quite an easy trade to manage. But 295 and 305, again, these are coming into second deviations. Coming into these levels is when the stock gets relatively overbought. So again, this is where I'd probably be trading this stock and trading it short bias. And if we did break that, further levels at 315 and 337. So it'll be something I put the alert out, and that's how I'm watching it. But again, if you're a long bias trader, then these could also be used as targets, because these are likely to be areas where you start to see a bit of a pullback. I think your name's Harsha, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Kavana short, let me check this out. I would imagine so, though. Last time I checked it out, it was extremely overbought. Yeah, so I mean, I haven't actually traded it since the last move. We traded this one again. If you watched the analysis videos back then, we literally caught the top of this move, traded that all short bias. But now these levels have changed, so let me quickly update them. So we got 2405. That is basically our target now. If you're short bias, that's going to be our main target. From a resistance standpoint, we have 24. So I need to update that, which is 29.25. So again, let me just plot these and then we can run through it real quick. And we have 28.50. So here are then the key levels, and I'll do it on this chart because this will probably be the easiest to look at it at. So when I'm looking at Kavana, yes, I am short bias because firstly, we got these, which are our second and third deviations. When you're coming into basically this range or above, you are extremely overbought. But whenever you tap these third deviations, very rare that you hold above a level like this. So more likely than not, you'll hit this, maybe potentially stay above it for like a day or so, but very quickly you would expect to see that sell off. And I would be looking at a target of $24. Now, what I like with a trade like this, even if we did get it wrong, the risk to reward we could get on a trade like this is going to be quite strong. That if it is a losing trade, it's not the end of the world, but the winners can really pay off. Because if we're getting short at this 29.25, let's say, again, if we're staying above $30, that could really be where our max loss is. So again, on something like Kavana, it has actually now turned hard to borrow, so we'd probably have to do this with either outright puts or a vertical spread. But by doing something like that, we could say as long as it closes below $30, we make money, and we could say that a week down the line, you know, say 9 times, 8 times out of 10, that's going to happen. So we can get that, and if it works, great. If it does go against us, again, we can take that loss, be patient, and if it can push up to basically just under $40, this is where our final deviational level is. This will be a very strong short, something I will be taking with relatively big size if we could hit that. The level we're at now, I will take, but I just won't be trading it with massive size. So I'll show you exactly how I'll be looking to trade it, and it will probably be a vertical spread on the $30-31 strikes. So I'll show you exactly then what the risk to rewards and stuff like that are on this. So again, there's multiple different ways you can trade it, through credit or debits. So let's say if we looked at this, for example, I'd probably actually go a bit higher up, analyze trade. So in this case here, you can see this is a debit spread, short bias. So what you do is you buy the more you buy the more expensive put, and then what you do is you sell the cheaper one. This creates a debit. Again, you can trade it as a debit or credit. Doesn't make much difference, because with these, you want to be closing them before expiration, because even if they're in or out the money, one may execute, and if it does, it can leave you liable. So if you do trade it using vertical spreads, make sure you lock it, your profits in or your loss in just before the close of the Friday they expire. But in a case like this isn't ideal because you're risking $78 to make 22. Again, the chance is still that it's going to pay off, but not a great risk to reward. That is because we're $1 or so off. So you could even be a bit more kind of go to current price, and then we could do a $27 strike. You're risking 58 to make 42. Again, when we're entering these, we'll normally lock it, so you could probably just put your limit at 50. It will most likely execute today anyway. That's a 1-to-1 risk to reward, as long as by the 7th of July we are closing below $27. And again, if we do it relatively quickly, like if we went to $27 today, you'll be up about 20% of your max win on that trade anyway. But it does already seem like we're selling off of this level. So again, right now target is 24. I will probably be waiting for a next move up. So if we don't get that, and let me quickly check it from an intraday perspective. If we don't get that, I'll probably just avoid the trade because I don't want to try and catch it or force it. But again, I'll probably be looking to trade this through the vertical spread route. Just trying to see really how much these are going to cost though. But they all seem to not actually be netting us a great risk to reward, which isn't ideal. Quickly see how much the credits will give us. I never really do the credit side of them. I tend to just do debit, so let me make sure I've entered that right. But I have, yeah. And yeah, they're basically netting us the same anyway. So if we did the same strategy, but through a credit call spread, so again, that's still a negative play or a bearish play, he's still risking the same. You're getting about the same risk to reward. So not something I'm all that keen on. So probably would actually be looking to trade it through then a single leg. So just buying outright puts. Again, they're still relatively expensive, but not the end of the world. We could just say get a $25 put or $25 strike put, cost us $120. And again, even right now, you know, we what are we currently sitting at now? We're currently seeing $27.50. So even if we came down to $26, we'll be up $45 if we did that today. So I mean, up to you how you want to play this, but would be short bias on it. But I don't think the options are looking all that great on this. It just seems quite expensive to play. So if we get more overbought, you know, the 29 or above, then I can justify spending that extra premium. But right now I can't really justify it. Is there any other stocks you guys want analysed? If throw it in the comments and we can get straight on that. And then we'll just run through. If not, we'll just run through what else is looking ideal. I'm just making sure that's all running right. It should be there. Yeah, cool. Yeah, great. Sorry for that. Oh, actually, Cavana as well. You can see we are coming into our anchored VWAP. Watch if we can hold this. This should give us a nice bounce to VWAP, or if we crack below, this will probably be quite bearish for the rest of the day. Looks as well like our ENVX swing most likely is going to fail as well, especially up to near $18 now. I never actually got the $17 entry, but it could be for the best. FTCH midterm open is short at 28. So I'm guessing the short your 28 is what you're talking about in Cavana. If so, lovely trade. Looks like we could be breaking through that anchored VWAP, and if so, that those shorts should really pay. So you wanted FTCH. Let me quickly check that out now then. So that's far-fetched LTD. Oh, I did actually have some lines on this, I think, to trade it before. So again, I'll put it on here so you can see what I'm looking at. 707 key resistance. So if we can break there, that's kind of my main focus for now. This I do think could be nice from a short. So again, I guess relatively long bias until we can get to $7. Then again, we're downtrending on the 6 month, we're downtrending on the 1 year, so already quite bearish. And then quite clearly as well, I mean, you can just see the trend levels as well. I mean, it actually kind of looks like we're breaking through some of it now. But really, we would be staying below the previous high. We could be short bias coming into that 708, something I'll be looking at because, again, second deviation on the 6 month, strong level, would keep in line with our bearish trend. So definitely something I'm paying attention to. If we did break that, we do also have 794 as further resistance. I guess you trade a bit different to me, Bradley. So for you, it could be a good short. I tend to look more from a swing perspective, and I don't like the idea of swinging Carnival Cruise Line because it's showing so much strength. So here, okay, it's already here. So what you'll be able to see here, this move here coming into pre-earnings, this was actually at its third deviation. And all we did is hesitate. We didn't really get that strong pullback. We didn't get a continuation break. Earnings pulled us down, and then those negative earnings or those poor earnings got bought straight into and broke the high. So to me, that is, I wouldn't be short bias on this because it's just showing so much strength. But again, from a day trading perspective, you may be able to get a good entry. We're holding our third deviation at around $17.10. At the same time, you got the anchored VWAP here. So really, if we come back, we can kind of hold this resistance zone. Literally, I would be looking at about that 5 cents, or if you want to do the $17 whole dollar, that as a range of resistance, a stop literally right above it could be a nice short. But we'll see how this plays out. And again, I guess you trade quite differently as well because you normally look for like $1 or $2. I guess actually probably not $1 on a stock like this, but I think how we look at them is a bit different, but as long as we're holding kind of that range, can be quite short bias. Anything else you're looking at trading as well, Bradley? Saw the Mara. Well, it's starting to crack down now, actually. Testing its second deviation on the 1 year. If it can hold that, anchor VWAP could be a nice target. Let me actually move that chart out of the way now because I realised you can't really see what I was looking at. Yeah, retesting it could be nice. I just realised as well, I think when I went through CCL, it was on the wrong screen. So I'll quickly say what I was looking at in case it was. Yeah, I was sure, but stopped out on Mara. Oh, damn, that's a bit annoying. What did you get for your entries? Yeah, testing VWAP, and if this holds, that could be quite a nice short. Down to anchored VWAP. What percentage is that? I like that. She could be risking about 15 cents or so. Yeah, it looks like on Carnival we might be holding that. If we break that low, kind of confirmed, I would say. 1379, risking 1389. What time did you enter then? Was that back here or coming in much later. Yeah, I don't know how you function with those super type stops. Yeah, Carnival now I get can be quite bearish on. Hold that anchored VWAP break. As soon as you break that, as long as we're kind of staying below that, it's still quite bearish. We're going to short at 10.07. Oh, I see. Oh, I'm guessing that you got kind of near the bottom of that move. I guess as well, I've never really noticed as well, even in that aspect, we traded kind of really differently. Like I think you tend to buy the breaks or whatever. I'll tend to buy if I was getting short bias, buy at the tops. But then I guess with mine, you kind of have to have the wider stops because if it starts going against you, that's to be expected. Whereas yours, I guess you can enjoy those tight stops because you're already trading direction. Looks like I might actually break that VWAP. What's the level 2s looking like? To be honest, it's looking a bit more bullish off the level 2. Any large arse coming through is just getting bought up instantly. I would like to range between the deviations. Yeah, you'll see that with a lot of these small caps, to be honest. The small caps actually really like off deviation levels because they'll tend to trade really nicely. They'll tend to trade to 1, pull back to 1, break through, trade to the next, retest, break to that next deviation, which I can't even see what that is. What is that, 1170? I mean, if we can hold the VWAP, I could definitely see a move as long as you can break below the anchored VWAP. Move to 1170, I wouldn't even be too surprised with. The only thing we got to watch out for is how Bitcoin reacts. Bitcoin's pulling back as well now. I didn't even notice. Spies and Q sold off quite heavy there as well. It's like a relatively big candle for no news. Unless there was some sort of news. Trade the highs as well as in Intech long. What's the Intel chart looking like? Long from 78. Looking like a nice trade so far then. Not any deviations for me to really look at trading. Could potentially look for a quick pullback off that anchored there if we can come into that. I might pay an alert on that. I just realised as well, I've not even been paying attention to the gap scanners. SGTX, actually I saw news about this pre-market to do with Pfizer buying them up. Oh, no, Eli Lilly, sorry. I think it was... Where was it? Yeah, anyway, Eli Lilly then was looking to buy them out. So these kind of ones, I'm never a big fan of trading, and for this exact reason. Even if we go to a 1 day or like intraday chart, they're kind of hard to trade. They kind of move into the range where they're looking to get bought out at, and then they'll kind of just hold in this range. Broken well above. Again, I keep realizing I'm analyzing the wrong chart. Breaking straight above these deviations. Again, in a case like this, when you've got an actual fundamental reason for it to be above that value, not something I'm looking to trade as it's above, just because, again, they're looking at a buyout when you get in that kind of news. Unless it comes out that that's false, don't want to be touching that at all because it's more like they're not going to hold above at that level. Moved a lot as well, especially pre-market. It's starting to hold below the anchored VWAP now as well. Could just be a kind of a scalpy short one. Looks ugly from the since open chart on excluding the after hours and pre-market. Would not be trading it from that. If I was looking to trade it, I'd just be paying attention to really the VWAP and anchored VWAPs. Potentially looking to trade short buys, relatively tight stops. So we also had US pending home sales change month on month. Actual was negative 2.7%. The forecast was only negative 0.5%. US pending house index actual came out at 76.5. The forecast, there was no forecast, but the last released was at 78.9. US 10-year yields raised to 3.86%, highest since March 10th. Oh, big news. US 5-year tips yields topped 2% for the first time since 2008. The crypto fear, and especially if you're looking at the Mara, then the crypto fear and greed index is come down to 54 out of 100, coming into neutral. Okay, also as well, we do have the US Supreme Court's ruling on Joe Biden's plan to forgive up to $20,000 of student loan debt. The ruling should be out by tomorrow. Seems about all the big news that has come out recently. MU. Okay. Yeah, we'll see what we can do with MU then, if it can pull back to VWAP. See if we can break and hold it. If so, could look for a bit more reversal. But again, this is of a fundamental catalyst, so I wouldn't be too keen on it. Unity starting to pull back. That's quite a nice opportunity. It's coming into its third deviation on the 6-month. Again, something I avoided. I haven't traded it yet. I'm waiting for a push to 48.70 before I actually trade that short bias. So I'll be a bit more patient on that. So if we can come to 48.70, that's where I'm paying attention to Unity. Looking at that short bias, probably more from a swing perspective, looking for a pullback back down to around $42. So we'll probably look for quite a big move on that, and that's what would be a swing. One other thing to note, and I'll put it on the screen here, the SPX straddles again below VWAP. If you're a reversal trader, this is more ideal. Remember, below VWAP, reversal traders more ideal. Above VWAP, then we're looking more at trend trades. Unity could actually be nice here. Yeah, Unity could actually be a lovely trade if it can kind of push back up to around 43.60. We'll probably have the actual VWAP back part at that level too. If we can get those two lined up, we've got a trade on this, I think, on Tuesday, where the same setup arised, long bias on, can't remember what stock now, might have been Nerve. It might have been yesterday actually. But when these two line up together, can be an extremely powerful trade. To play that short bias. Again, don't see it all the time, but when you do see it, they do play out nice. Again, I can't really see it too many other opportunities, so if you guys have any, let me know. I'll check them out. Again as well, 10-year notes down just under 1%, while the 2 years are only down 0.3%. Charts aren't loading on them for some reason though. Hopefully my Wi-Fi is not going again, which seems like it is. That's very annoying. No, yeah, charts aren't loading again. This is... We may even end up ending today's stream early if this keeps happening, because it is really annoying. Oh, there we go. Looks like we're coming back. That is English Wi-Fi for you, though. It sucks. Alright, let me check the other gaps as well real quick, because I haven't even run through them today. The only one I checked out was the SGTX, because it was getting that buyout. So we have some with options. So these are two scanners I have as well. Again, depending whether you just like stocks or you like the options. I like to have these two watch lists. So these are $10 plus stocks with options. The reason I like this scanner is, again, we can trade these using the option strategy. So this can mean shorting shares, buying calls. We can buy outright puts, or we can look to trade them through vertical spreads. But these means we don't have to time it perfectly or relatively well like we do on the gap scanners. If we're trading that, we have to get good entries. We have to, well, the good entries are really the most important things. On these ones, we can time is our friend. We don't have to get that perfect day trading entry. So these I also like to trade because I just find the entries and everything like that a lot easier. But then also we do have the normal gap scanner, which most other people are looking at. And we can see how this is. Oh, IMNM, retesting the anchored and normal VWAP, could be a potential short. In cases like this as well, we talked about when the two line up, they're super powerful. We don't mean like this when they open up and they're basically the same. Then it doesn't matter that much. What you want to see is the anchor VWAP be very far apart from the normal VWAP, and then in time they get closer, but I mean relatively they open up near enough next to each other. I realised as well we need to throw the SPX thing back on. I wanted to check what these straddles were doing. I forgot to save it though. 4375. Straddles 4375. Send to chart 2. So again, these straddles are still below that VWAP. So again, more reversal looking than trend trading right now. Just as a heads up as well, obviously we do have the 4th of July coming up. Obviously US stocks and options all going to be closed that day, but also on the July 3rd, so the Monday, the markets do actually close early. They do close at 1, so just as a heads up. But I would be a bit careful anyway trading on that. Whenever it's a half day, volume's usually way less because a lot of people just don't even turn up. Is it Haggis? Once comp look, that shot up today, yeah, what 3.5%. Let me quickly check what the levels are looking like on this. So we got 380 resistance. If we can continue up, if we break that, we then have 418 and 448. Does seem still, even though it has got a good move today, now 4%. Doesn't seem like it's doing that on great volume, so probably not going to be something I'd touch. But anyway, key levels, just so you know, I'm looking at 380 resistances, 218, 448 as resistances. From a support side, we have $3 basically. So they're the key levels I'm paying attention to. That support's quite far off, so really just looking at how we react to this 380 first time we come into it, looking short bias. If we retest, waiting for that break, retest from a support perspective, and then a move to 420 can be quite likely. Obviously, you're going to have $4 psychological level, so do probably want to be paying attention to that as well. Neo's down 2.5% today as well. Neo is really struggling on this first deviation. So 945. Let me throw that on. So yeah, 945 is our first deviation on the 6 month. We tested it here, sold off. Testing it again, just really hesitating, showing that it's really hard to break this. Could be something I'm just looking at is each day we test it, keep just looking to trade it short bias as we come into this range. And obviously that one day it breaks, that's when we need to stop trading it. Could be something I look at though. Unity still down 2%. I might put Unity there because that could be a nice potential trade. Again, if we can crack up to the VWAP, anchored VWAP, could be a nice trade. So the natural gas came out. Completely forgot to trade it today. That's a bit annoying. So came out, actual was 76 billion versus the 82 billion estimates. So pretty in line. Should have been a fade, but again, I wasn't really watching it to see what happened. Ideally, that was a fade though. We can actually probably go into a tick chart and have a quick look. Yep, so we got that fade. So again, when these releases are relatively in line, you tend to get this move on the release. You'll spike one direction, we just play against it, and basically close out there. That is actually showing super... Oh, I've just realized as well, what I showed you is on the wrong chart again. I need to get used to putting it on the spare screen, but let me bring it over and I'll show you what I did on the wrong screen. So again, we changed this to a tick chart because we don't have access to a 1 minute or 1 second chart on Thinkorswim. Release was here, so again, 8:30 release. Oh, sorry, 10:30 release. You spike up off this release. Again, this was the 10:30 candle. Spike up off this release, and normally the big trading opportunity we look at is just to fade that move. As soon as you come back to the open, that's where you get out. And it's just basically a U-trade turn. U-trade. How many ticks was that though? 30 ticks. So, you know, that's $300 a contract if you traded that perfectly, which again, you're never going to trade perfectly, but still a nice move. And then coming on, again, has overall though continued this skyrocket, retesting its anchored VWAP. If this could hold, could be a nice upward move for the day. And as well, just to keep you informed, the SPX straddles are still below VWAP. So again, still more of a reversal bias than trend trading bias as of right now. I want to see what Ford's doing now as well, actually. Yeah, it looks like we currently hit it. We got that original bounce. We'll see if this can hold those. If we can break that high, the 2.7. This is basically what I would use as confirmation. If we can break the 743, then we will probably continue that as an upward trend. Trade the highs in the Discord. I saw a trade that I didn't get in. Charles Schwab's 56.78 tree for upside to 57.70. Do you guys see conviction for this trade? Not going to trade it, just asking. So let's have a quick look at it. What do I see on there? 58.25 is statistical mean. I think that was after the entry, so that after the take profit, so that wouldn't have mattered. I guess could be relatively nice. Again, any stocks you guys want to analyze? Unity came back, test its anchored again. Ideally, we kind of wanted these to line up a tiny bit better, but either way, short bias now is perfectly fine. Basically, but this is why I like it. Again, even here, it's a 5 cent difference, nothing crazy. I'll just do this so I remember I was paying attention to that. Again, if I did get short something like this, I'd probably be having the stops probably above 43.81. Again, if we want wider stops, we could do a bit less size and have a stop above 44. But on these, we could usually have relatively tight stops that will either work right away or not at all. So on these, I'd rather have tighter stops and just see it. I might hit him with a few shares just to see how it goes. Yeah, I think if we can retest this VWAP, I might actually hit in. I would do small size because normally that would be, I'd kind of move my stop closer. But again, we'll probably look to enter that range, have a stop above that. We'd actually have our stop probably here. So I'll dash this out just so you know what I'm looking at. Looking to get, I guess, an average entry at 43.63. Stop would be there. Looks like it's pushing back. That could be nice. And then we'll put our first TP around there, which is about 1-to-1. Put that in green. I'll put this in red so you know that stop, and then everything should be pretty clear what I'd be looking at. I want to see how the natural gas futures are doing as well now. Yeah, okay, they look like they're holding that anchored view up nice as well. Again, probably not giving that confirmation though until we can break that. Okay, it's kind of hitting into where we would be looking at for entry. Actually, we can remove that now anyway. Watching how it reacts. Again, haven't entered anything yet. Yeah, we can crack below that anchored VWAP. That's probably when I'll look to enter. Okay, there we go. I'm in a tiny bit now. Put it in the Discord as well, just so people know what I'm looking at. See how that does. Again, first TP at 43.40, just to kind of move our stops and taking a bit of profits. Straddles as well on the SPX, breaking down to an overall low again. That shows more reversal bias than trend bias. Nasdaq, not Nasdaq, the natural gas futures look like they're about to break their recent high? If so, again, then can be more long bias on that. Unity coming back in to break even. Actually, we got a 43.60 entry, so a bit above break even. Put the whole what I'm looking at in the Discord just so I can see it for later as well. There we go, so I can see everything I've got. I'm just going to sit. Wait, let me grab it up on my screen because I know it's tiny. I'm just going to sit back and watch a while as SPY chops. Lots of good entries from my watch list, but it seems I chose the only a few bad trades. Yeah, that is trading though, isn't it? You always choose the worst ones. But I guess that's part of the learning process, filtering out which ones are good and bad. It is so annoying though. I hate those days where you maybe say take 2-3 trades. You say win on one, lose on two. Oh, it looks like we might be getting stopped out. Yeah, okay, we just got hit out, stopped on Unity. That was fun. Again, that's why we kind of had our stop relatively tight. Because on this strategy, when you have the anchored VWAP, we kind of got that original pullback, which I mean, I guess we were kind of chasing on the second entry. As soon as you start to break through there, you tend to kind of break through. It's why we have that stop relatively tight, because we don't want to be holding or bag holding. As well, natural gas, you can see we've now broken that high, so can be definitely a lot more long bias on it. Wouldn't even mind. Where's trading view? I want to see what an anchored VWAP looks like since release on the NG, if it lets me do it, because I don't actually pay for trading view because I hardly ever use it. So I don't know if the data is delayed or not. It is delayed. That's quite annoying. Delayed by 10 minutes, weirdly, though, not 15. Maybe futures are a bit different. I did want to see what an anchored VWAP from that level would look like, but I can't do that. The only thing I don't like with Think or Swim, they indicate they're difficult to code, and then you don't even get what you want a lot of the times, and you can't do what you want. You can't set it from a specific candle unless you're looking on the daytime chart. But I guess can't complain. The platform overall is pretty decent. Might even trade that natural gas if we can come back to our anchored VWAP again. Again, we can have relatively tight stops. Probably have a stop around that 709, risking literally 9 ticks. And even if we just trade it to the high, that's, you know, a 1 to 4. So I'll probably look for that. Just realised I don't know I'm entering these trades on my phone. I might as well just enter it, open up the platform. I might have to get an extra screen though. Right now I'm rolling with 3, and it was fine before streaming, but now I stream as well. I think I could definitely do it with an extra screen. See if there's any other big news or any news coming out. I don't think anything's even really dropping. SPY's pulling back. Unity would be back at entry, but again, we did get stopped out on that. Oil loadings from Russia. Western ports set to fall 18% in July month on month. Reuters calculations, that is. Yeah, it seems to be about it. Question. What's the question? Actually, to be honest, my original MVX entries, again, that's down think we're down $50 on that. Could look to re-enter, or just where one contract. It's not going to put much risk on it at all. If price is trading above the third deviation, it comes down to test that third deviation. Would you look to go long through the statistics are based on price being within the deviations? Hope that makes sense. So it does make sense. Do I do it though? Not really. Reason for that is, I mean, we could probably take a few seconds to find a stock that's above if it's a small cap. Let me have a quick look and see if I can find an actual example. If not, we'll just do a hypothetical. Okay, this one's actually above on one of them. So let me quickly put this down. I'll quickly run through what I look at least. So here, IMNM, you have the 6 month at 820 and you have the 1 year at 780, third deviations. So when you come above this level and obviously you come back to retest it, there is still a chance you can get that good bounce. Like even in this case, it's holding that level, but I will never really tend to take it long. Oh crap, I just saw you post it. I'll go through those after, but anyway, yeah, when you come back to retest it, I don't like trading it long just because obviously we were expected to come back down to this price. More likely as well, we will break through it. So if I try and take this long bias, from a deviation perspective especially, kind of the probability of it continuing up is against you. So to me, it doesn't really make sense. But again, it depends on what kind of trader you are. If you're a trend trader, then yes, it can definitely make sense. But when I'm looking at stocks, I'm 95% of the time looking at them as a reversal trader. And so to me, it makes no sense. And I struggle to look at that long bias because of how overbought it would be. So it's kind of more, I guess, how you can look at them. To me, I would struggle to ever take them long just because they're overbought. So you said what, OSTK? So you have what, 2675 and 29. Is that 2910? Delete the blues because they've moved and I don't need to replot them. So I guess even the same thing on OSTK. It came back, retested it. You kind of get that bounce, but again, you can already see it's trying to come back down to this level, trying to break it. And that's again kind of why I don't like it is, yeah, you can still get these bounces, and I guess it's fine if you're looking for a scalp. But price overall is still trying to come back and trade below it. So to me, I think it's kind of just fighting something that you don't really need to. Obviously, when I'm reversal trading, you're fighting the trend. But you kind of had the odds in your favor, whereas here you're trying to trade the trend while the odds are not really in your favor. At least that's how I look at it. Carnival Cruise Line. Yeah, I guess just seeing the same sort of thing on Carnival Cruise Line. Nowhere near as clean though. That's a third dev there. But yeah, to me, it's just I'd rather just not do it. If I was as well, it would be something like Carnival Cruise Line. I would try and trade because it's not a 1 day move really. What was the OSTK move? So even the OSTK move I don't really like because it still just seems quite parabolic. The move kind of came relatively quickly and relatively strong. So to me, it doesn't make me believe it can hold these levels. The Carnival Cruise Line seems like it was a bit more of a slower move, which shows that investors and traders are still kind of valuing it even at these moves. So also as well, just to note, straddles are coming into 25% sell-off on the VWAP. Again, still a high reconnection successful. We should be back live. I'm hoping that now works. Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi went down. Now we're having to use hotspot. So hopefully my phone's internet is strong enough. We'll see how it goes though. So did the chat, but yeah, there we go. I'm glad you walked me through it. I initially went long on Mara today, and short bias seems to be what was necessary in terms of possibilities, something I'm getting used to. Having a bias to look for. Yeah. Yeah, I guess yeah, it's always kind of down to the chart. Is it a fast mover or a slow mover? That's how I tend to use deviations and to pick a bias. Obviously, you can see if they're overbought or not quite clearly. Like obviously Mara looks quite overbought and we did start setting off for those levels, and it's also down to the move. The move happened relatively quickly. It's most likely not going to survive, whereas obviously the CCL is a much slower mover, so much more higher likelihood that it can actually hold and sustain those levels. Okay. So that should be clear. Again, I'll probably end the stream coming in a few minutes anyway, just because I'm having to use hotspot. I don't imagine it's now super. I imagine it's somewhat laggy because hotspot's not the best thing in the world. But we'll see. Yeah, it's a bit annoying on that Unity trade as well. Would have played out quite nice, but again, we kind of got that pop through that level, hit into 44. Again, that's why we said if we wanted smaller size, we could have that wider stop above 44. Still target that 43.40. Reason that was my target was because that was that previous low. So if we struggled to kind of come into that move, again, we were most likely going to fail. But even in this, wasn't the cleanest of trades. Would have been quite ugly either way. But, well, not the end of the world. It's quite weird as well. There's a difference between... Make sure they're both on 1 day, 1 minute. Yeah. Difference between the SPY and the Qs. SPYs are bullish on the... Oh, flat on the day, but still above its anchored VWAP. Whereas the Qs are down 0.5% on the day and below its anchored VWAP. Don't really see that all that often. Bit strange to see. Any last minute stocks you guys want to go through? If not, I'll probably call that a day. I'm going to head out for some food because it is my birthday today, so we'll probably head off anyway. Oh, Amazon could be quite nice actually. And these are the ones I mean by seeing that they are still long buys because of how the move happened on Amazon. Let me throw that to gold. So one thing I'm watching for on Amazon is 126.2. So obviously on Amazon anyway, we can see the move. Again, it wasn't a 1 day pop. Nice slow grind up there. We're testing the second deviation on the 1 year. We're pulling back. So this 26.20, if you're a trend trader, this could be a nice potential long bias play to try and continue on that upward move. Might be something we take with small size. Again, we'll see when it pulls back. If it pulls back today, I'll probably miss it. But if we can pull back into it coming into Friday, then definitely something I can look to trade. Thanks, Bradley, for the happy birthday. Oh man. Oh, top's moving as well. Or top is moving. Oh, moving massively. Is there a catalyst for this? Can't see one there. Quickly have a look through Bloomberg, see if there's anything there. Cavana testing again. Let me have a look at that at the same time. Tops anyway. Quick one from this one. Again, this one went absolutely crazy before. Absolute pop. You got the dead cat bounce. And now kind of staying in these lows. Again, if we get a pop on something like this, definitely looking to trade it. But it's, can we trade it short bias? The problem with this is probably not. Got no options. Going to be, well, it's NTB, so no available shares to borrow. So if we wanted to try and catch this move, it would be kind of waiting for the break of these levels and scalping the bounces on the pullbacks potentially. But going to be a lot of risk on those, so I'd probably be doing small size. But again, that's quite a lot in advance. We're only at $8. First trade would be from above $17. What was it? Kavana, CVNA. Oh yeah, it is coming into the 28.50. I wouldn't mind it breaking that. Potentially take a small short into the 29.25. Probably be more of a swing, to be honest. We did hit a 6-month high though coming in pre-market. Don't forget. And come into that. Yeah, I think might watch out this Kavana real quick. See if we hold or break this level, and then probably call it a day. JOBY as well. I know that's what you. I think you and Trade the Highs were watching. That looks quite nice as well. Pulling back into its anchored V. Just quickly switch back to my Wi-Fi because it's back up. There we go. Yeah, did you end up trading that, Bradley? That's a nice pullback on there. 50 cents already coming into that just intraday VWAP. Oh, what I wanted to check actually was on EMVX. I did want to check. Put JB down here. Actually, I'll put Kavana down here. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it externally when setting a stop loss. What's exiting early though? Is that like 28.25 or is that, I don't even know, 28? Oh. Yeah, EMVX, I wanted to see how much the positions were now. Covered stock. Oh yeah, well I can get them so cheap now. Oh, it could even be a free play. Right now it's a free play, guys. Need margin for it though. So again, short in 100 shares, buying the calls. If you can get this, right now it's free. If you can get it at $15, it is a free trade. There is no risk on that trade. And I look to enter it. Trade. Covered stock. Strikes up to the 15 strikes. Yeah, there is no risk on it. Cool, I'll put in as many as I can get filled on. Quantity. There you go, send those orders out. If so, that'd be a wonderful arbitrage trade. I was short at 28.25. Would have stopped out at break even anyway. Oh, good thing then. What did you get out at then? And let me throw this trade on the trade ideas real quick as well. That's pretty cool. Don't ever really see that. Oh, so you got 5 cents on it. But I guess you trade with like 1,000 shares, so still not too bad. Just throwing this trade in the trade ideas. And then I'll have a quick look through a few more charts. calls. So buy the $15 calls, and then that's quite cool. I'll send that out as an alert to everyone. So ignore that if you don't trade options. But that is quite cool. Sucks low, especially since it broke down. Oh wait, it's the chart? I can't see it. For some reason it won't update on my platform. I have to check it on my phone. Sucks low, especially since it broke down so nicely. I wish I made my mistake at a better price though. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. Oh yeah, breaking VWAP would have been a lovely trade. Probably see it come all the way back down to 27.10. Is there any ones that are near risk free on? Remember as well, if you're looking for these kind of arbitrage plays, the main thing's to bid. Even right now though, it would only cost you a max of $8 to get into that trade. But as long as that bid's above 15, you're all good. Then it is completely risk-free. Well, risk-free, you just need to make sure obviously you close out the position and coming into Friday's close, or you can take it into expiration, but then you have to make sure your broker is going to exercise the option if it's above your strike. QQQ's pushing up, testing its anchored VWAP. Watch how SPY reacts on it because it may halt it at its highs. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call that a day. Again, we got orders out on the... Oh shit, one's already filled. The ENVX, again, risk-free trade. You do need to have money in the account though. It's not like you can just enter unlimited. You need to have about $1,500 because you need to be able to short the 100 shares, even though the risk is defined at $0. So that is quite cool anyway though. We'll let that play out. That's sweet. Quickly do that as well. But yeah, anyway, I'll end the stream there. Again, anchor VWAP on the QQQs is at $364. Watch how we move as we come into here. If we start to pull back, it will probably stop SPY near the highs. If we can crack that, and SPY is probably going to start trending on the day, trending strong to the upside. So that's what I'd be watching for. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we don't have any Wi-Fi issues tomorrow. And hope to see you then. Peace.